Hey everyone, today we're diving headfirst into the dark secrets of the sun-kissed shores. Yes, we're talking about beach horror stories, real accounts of the ocean's hidden nightmares that will leave you shivering long after your next dip. Before starting the horror stories, please like this video, tell us in the comments which story you liked, and subscribe our YouTube channel for more horror stories. Story number 1. Mason, a scrawny 12-year-old with a mind perpetually stuck in adventure mode, stood on the bleached shores of Tybee Island, Georgia, the late October air thick with salt and anticipation. He'd begged his parents for this, a beach bonfire under the full moon, just his family and the whispering ocean. Yet, as the flames danced and his younger sister Lily built her sandcastle empire, a gnawing unease wormed its way into Mason's heart. His parents, oblivious to the undercurrent of dread, laughed as Lily's castles tumbled and rebuilt under the moon's pale gaze. But Mason noticed something off. The crabs, usually scuttling across the sand, had retreated, the birds fallen silent. The ocean, once playful, hissed with a dark undercurrent, and the whisper built into a cacophony of voices, pleading and tormented. Curiosity overcoming fear, Mason ventured toward the water's edge. The sand beneath his feet felt oddly cold, his reflection in the moonlit waves distorted and unsettling. A luminescent shape drifted in the waves, undulating like a jellyfish, yet strangely familiar. In its pulsing glow, he saw glimpses of faces, contorted in silent screams, a tableau of drowned souls lost at sea. He stumbled back, heart pounding. The whisper, now focused on him, slithered into his mind, weaving tales of forgotten rituals and hungry gods waiting just below the surface. Panic clawed at his throat, and he turned to scream, but no sound emerged. His lips moved, yet only the ocean answered, mimicking his silent plea in a chilling echo. Suddenly, Lily's laughter turned into a choked gasp. Her sandcastle, once a proud fortress, now pulsed with an eerie blue light. From its depths, a skeletal hand, dripping with seaweed and barnacles, clawed its way out, followed by another and another. Mason watched in horror as his sister's sandcastle became a gateway, disgorging skeletal figures with phosphorescent eyes and gaping maws. They lunged towards Lily, their bony fingers reaching for her fragile form. Time warped. Adrenaline surging, Mason lunged forward, grabbing his sister and pulling her away from the sandcastle portal. His parents, finally alerted by the commotion, turned in time to see the skeletal beings rise, moonlight glinting off their empty sockets. Chaos erupted. Mason and Lily scrambled back, the figures pursuing them with unnatural speed. His mom grabbed Lily, shielding her with her own body, while his dad, armed with a stray piece of driftwood, stood his ground against the encroaching tide of bones. Mason, overcome by a desperate need to help, remembered the luminescent form in the waves. He bolted towards the water, the whisper urging him on. As he plunged into the icy depths, the voices crescendoed, drowning out the world above. He opened his eyes, submerged in an underwater world pulsing with bioluminescent light. There, amidst swaying seaweed and coral castles, swam the being from the waves. It turned towards him, its form shifting, coalescing into a woman with flowing hair of kelp and eyes that held the wisdom of the ancient sea. She spoke, not with words, but with images that flooded his mind, forgotten rituals, broken oaths, and the restless souls trapped between worlds. She entrusted him with a message, a way to appease the spirits and close the portal before it devoured them all. Gasping for breath, Mason surfaced amidst the chaos, the skeletal figures closing in. He relayed the woman's message, building a monument of sand and shells as an offering, a symbol of respect for the lost. Under the astonished gaze of his parents and the skeletal beings, Mason and Lily, guided by the whispers of the woman from the sea, erected their offering. As the final shell was placed, a wave of energy rolled forth, cleansing the beach. The portal in the sandcastle sputtered, then vanished, swallowing the skeletal figures back into the depths. Silence descended, broken only by the gentle lapping of the now placid waves. The moon, no longer malevolent, shimmered softly above. Mason, trembling but alive, held his sister close, the terror etched into his memory like a sandcastle against the tide. The next morning, they left Tybee Island, the beach bonfire a distant memory. But Mason knew the ocean held secrets, whispers carried on the tide. He wouldn't forget the night he faced the terror on the shore, the night he learned that bravery can lurk in the hearts of even the smallest adventurers. Story number 2. Henry, fueled by a mix of insomnia and adolescent bravado, found himself on Miami Beach in the witching hour. Palm trees cast skeletal shadows under the gibbous moon. He'd always been drawn to the edge, to places where shadows stretched long and secrets whispered on the wind. Tonight, the ocean called to him, a siren song of the uncanny. He strolled along the deserted shoreline, the sand cool and damp beneath his bare feet. The waves, usually playful and turquoise-tinged, seemed strangely subdued under the moon's gaze, a dark, viscous ink rolling onto the shore. He reached a secluded inlet, a place the locals called Whisper Cove, for the strange rumors of disembodied voices carried on the wind. Intrigued, Henry ventured closer. As he rounded a jagged outcropping, a shiver snaked down his spine. The air in the cove felt thicker, colder, clinging to him like a shroud. The whispering, which he had dismissed as mere superstition, materialized into a tangible presence, rustling through the palm fronds, swirling around his ankles. He strained to understand the words, a guttural language that scraped against the edges of his comprehension. Then, a figure emerged from the shadows, a woman draped in seaweed and moonlight, her eyes glowing with an unholy luminescence. Her lips moved, and the whispers solidified into a language he somehow understood, an ancient tongue of vengeance and forgotten gods. She spoke of a ritual, an appeasement, a sacrifice demanded by the restless spirits of the drowned. Henry, his heart hammering against his ribs, stumbled back, fear turning his legs to lead. He wanted to run, to scream, but a chilling grip on his soul held him rooted in place. The woman, her voice a mesmerizing monotone, beckoned him towards the churning black heart of the cove. "The tide waits," she hissed, "hungry for souls." Before he could resist, a wave taller than any he'd ever seen rose from the depths, obscuring the moon and casting the beach in an inky abyss. Panicked, Henry lunged back, scraping his nails against the jagged rock face. The woman closed in, her seaweed-tangled hair brushing his face, her eyes burning into his soul. He braced for the end, for the icy embrace of the hungry tide. But then, from the depths of the wave, a counterpoint to the woman's chilling chant emerged. A voice, ancient and powerful, resonated through the water, speaking in the same forbidden tongue. The woman recoiled, her power waning under the onslaught of the unseen being. The wave crashed around Henry, but instead of pulling him under, it swirled around him, a protective barrier against the woman's malevolent touch. Then, with a final guttural roar, the woman dissolved into the shadows, the whispers fading into the moan of the returning tide. As the water receded, Henry lay shivering on the sand, the echo of the unseen savior resonating in his ears. He stumbled back toward the familiar illuminated edge of Miami Beach, the neon lights a beacon of sanity in the moonlit chaos. But the experience left its mark. He could still hear the whispers, faint echoes carried on the salty breeze, reminding him of the ancient secrets hidden beneath the ocean's surface, of the delicate balance between light and darkness that shimmered on the shoreline. Years later, Henry returned to Miami Beach, no longer the reckless teenager drawn to the fringes. Now he was a marine biologist, dedicated to understanding the ocean's hidden depths. He still felt the whispers sometimes, but they no longer chilled him to the bone. Instead, they served as a reminder of the fragile balance between the seen and unseen, a cautionary tale etched in the sands of Whisper Cove. The ocean, he knew, was more than just waves and sunbathers. It was a world of shadows and secrets, a realm where nightmares and salvation could brush shoulders on the whispering tide. And though he ventured into its depths with newfound respect, a part of him would forever be haunted by the night the beach whispered its darkest secrets. Story number 3. The California sun beat down on Lucas's shoulders as he raced towards the beach, his flip-flops slapping a frantic rhythm against the sun-warmed concrete. San Diego, usually a haven of sunbathers and surfers, felt eerily deserted. The rhythmic crash of the ocean, normally a lullaby, was now a menacing drumbeat, echoing his growing unease. He hadn't intended to wander this far south, beyond the usual tourist havens. But a cryptic text from his old friend Maya, a marine biologist, had lured him with whispers of a hidden cove, untouched by crowds, a photographer's paradise. Now, the only paradise he found was an unsettling solitude, the deserted stretch of sand stretching before him like a bleached, sun-baked skull. Following Maya's cryptic directions, Lucas stumbled upon a hidden inlet nestled between towering cliffs. An unnatural silence hung heavy in the air, broken only by the rhythmic whispers of the waves. The water, usually a sparkling turquoise, was a murky, unnatural gray, swirling with a faint bioluminescent glow. An unsettling chill snaked down Lucas's spine. He fumbled for his phone, but the signal was dead, a digital silence mirroring the physical one around him. Panic gnawed at him, yet a morbid curiosity propelled him forward. Reaching the cove's edge, he saw Maya, her back turned, staring intently at the churning water. Her usually bright eyes were glazed, lost in a trance-like state. Beside her lay a pile of abandoned diving equipment, glinting ominously in the sun. "Maya," he called, his voice swallowed by the whispering waves. She turned, her face pale, her eyes wide with a primal terror. "Lucas," she rasped, her voice barely a whisper. "Don't go near the water. It's alive." Before he could question her, a monstrous tentacle, thick as a tree trunk and pulsating with the same eerie glow, erupted from the water, lashing out at the cliffs with a bone-shaking crash. Screaming, Maya threw herself at Lucas, shoving him back from the edge. They scrambled back, adrenaline pumping, hearts hammering against their ribs. The monstrous tentacle retreated into the water, but the cove vibrated with an unseen menace. The whispers, now louder, more insistent, wormed into their ears, weaving chilling stories of ancient leviathans, of sunken cities and forgotten gods, hungry and restless in the depths. Trapped, isolated, and with no way to call for help, they huddled together, the abandoned diving gear a stark reminder of Maya's unfinished research. As the sun dipped towards the horizon, casting long, skeletal shadows, the whispers intensified, forming haunting melodies that chilled them to the bone. Fueled by a desperate need to escape, Lucas spotted a narrow crevice in the cliffs, barely visible in the fading light. With a shared look of grim hope, they clambered inside, the whispers growing fainter with each step. The crevice opened into a hidden cave, its walls adorned with strange symbols, glowing faintly with the same bioluminescent light. In the cave's depths, they found Maya's research notes, filled with frantic scribblings about a symbiotic relationship between deep-sea organisms and a sentient bioluminescent bacteria capable of manipulating sound and perception. The whispers, she realized, were not just sounds, but a form of communication, a desperate plea from the trapped creatures below. Armed with this knowledge, they returned to the cove. Maya, her voice filled with newfound resolve, spoke into the churning water, not in fear, but in understanding. The whispers calmed, replaced by a low, mournful hum, a song of gratitude and sorrow. The monstrous tentacle emerged again, but this time, instead of aggression, it reached out, gently placing a glowing orb, pulsating with the same bioluminescent light, in Maya's hand. It was a gift, a token of understanding, a plea for protection from the encroaching human world. As dawn broke, painting the sky in hues of pink and gold, they emerged from the cove, forever marked by their encounter. The beach was no longer deserted, teeming with life, both seen and unseen. The whispers, though still present, were now a symphony of coexistence, a reminder of the delicate balance between humanity and the mysteries that lie beneath the surface. Lucas left San Diego with a renewed respect for the ocean's secrets, a story he would carry forever, a chilling echo of the whispers from the deep, a testament to the day he walked into the cove and found not just a hidden paradise. Our 3 beach horror stories come to over, each story a reminder that the salty shores we seek for leisure and escape can hold shadows as deep as the abyss itself. Remember, the next time you feel the sand squishing between your toes or hear the rhythmic roar of the waves, take a moment to pause. Listen. Perhaps on the wind, you might hear a whisper, a glimpse of the darkness that dwells beneath the surface. Thanks for watching.